As you see on the title of this slide, it says the golden rule. Probably you heard that before, which is spend less than you earn. But in reality, and we have to be very real with us as students, probably that rule doesn't make sense for us because we're already spending more than what we make, correct? So, and that's what it's the first bullet point there, that or tuition is already, an expense for us. So it will be hard for us as a college students to follow that rule. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be thinking about budgeting. So, and as Oscar mentioned, income and expenses are always going to be together. So they're not separate. But also it's not about going around with couponing or just basing your diet on ramen noodles all the time, or musubis. I put a picture of the musubi. That the third picture is a musubi. It's a Hawaiian dish. I went to University of Hawaii, and that was our diet for us as undergrad. That was my diet for breakfast or for lunch, because it was 90 cents at that time, and you could find that in any store around campus. So, and it was cheap. It was the best way for me to manage my budget at that time. Now there are other, if you Google it about budgets, you will find that example that, oh, if you stop drinking coffee, this is how much you're going to save during the year, which may be right, but it doesn't really make sense, because I think we always have to look into what do we value. If we think that a cup of coffee is something that make us better for the day, or it's something that we really value, then we should be focusing, we shouldn't be focusing on limiting that, but we should be looking in other things that it doesn't have much value right now for us, and reducing that in order to have more for the things that we value. So that's with this one. Now I made 6 steps. So step 1 is just knowing what our expenses are. That's very important to know. What are my fixed expenses? If you don't understand what's a fixed expenses, probably your rent, phone bill, because it's anything that doesn't change in a month. It's going to be the same amount of money that is going to be you have to use every month. So that's a fixed expense. Variable expenses, it's, as Oscar mentioned earlier, it's things that can change tomorrow. Like today, maybe $1 to buy one pencil, and tomorrow maybe will be $1.20. So we don't know exactly. We don't have a fixed amount for it. So that's pretty much what is variable expenses. And it's always divided between your needs and your wants, right? So that's step 1, knowing what our expenses are. The next step, it's understanding where our money is going. And it's good to know this, because then you will find out what expenses to cut. You start realizing that I'm spending too much in this. Maybe I have to reduce that. And it help us to set aside money for savings, maybe. And it shows our bad habits. And I can tell you from my own experience, and probably you guys have your own, that one of my bad habits is it's a good intention, but it's a bad habit. It's when I buy vegetables, for example. I always have the idea that I'm going to buy lettuce, I'm going to buy tomatoes, and I'm going to make something with that. But because of school, because of work, my homework, and my own distractions, at the end, I end up not using it at all. And that doesn't last longer, so I lose money. And it will be easy to say, oh, I did it only once. I do it a lot of times that I do the same thing, though. So for me, that's a bad habit. Of course, everyone has their own bad habits. For me, that's something that I do, even though I know that there's potential that I'm not going to be using it. I'm going to just waste it. So that's my bad habit. So that's kind of an example to give you about understand how helpful it is to know where money is going. And if we know that, at least we have a map of the things that we're spending or money, it can help us reduce the stress because we can manage that. It helps us to see how can we manage our expenses. The next step is determine our income. It's all the money that is coming to your pocket. Could be your paycheck, financial aid. Now, financial aid, you have to be very careful because if financial aid is going straight to the school, that's probably not your income. Financial aid is when it's coming to your bank account, when you get the money. And look into maybe the money that you receive from your parents. If you have a sponsor, maybe take into consideration that. If you get side jobs, or even birthday gifts, like if your grandma or someone in your family gives you $100, maybe that's considered an income. So take into consideration that, what's your income. And the next step is your variables, okay? So here, as Oscar mentioned earlier, it's you can follow that rule or you can just understand what are your necessities and your wants, right? And understanding this piece is important because we struggle a lot with this one, and that's because of we're humans, we make mistakes and we deal with our own behaviors. Because I've done it many times when I was in undergrad, and I learned from it, where I spend a lot of my money during a weekend going to, let's say, drinking, going to a bar, spend $200-$300. And then I realized that I don't have milk, I don't have food, and all my budget for that month is screwed up, right? So, and it's okay. We all make mistakes. And once you realize those, though, it's important for you to own it and try to change that for the future. Because of those experiences that I had before with my budgeting my money, it helped me a lot to be better now, organized with my expenses and my income. So it's always good to understand what are your necessities. Do I have to pay my electricity bill first, or should I spend a little bit of that money on going to the movie theater? So there are a lot of choices that we make daily and monthly. So, but it's always good to have an understanding what are our needs and our wants. And the next step is savings. Now, this is optional because I include myself on this one because it's hard to save. As a college student, we don't all have that privilege to separate $100, $200 for my savings, right? But we still can take baby steps, maybe saving the change that we get, like every day that we get home and we get some change, just put in a jar. It's a savings, because we never know when are we going to be having an unexpected event. And it's always good to have something. Not much, maybe, but at least something. And again, I can tell you that from my own experience, just last semester, I was sharing that with Jesse and my team that someone stole the battery of my car. I was unexpected. Wasn't on my plans, wasn't on my budget. But at that time, didn't have enough savings, but I had to use a little bit of my credit card to purchase a new battery. So things can happen anytime. So it's always good to have extra money to help us with that. And going with this point also, it's important for you to know, if you didn't know, that if you need a small loan from UTEP, there is an option. Talk to our student affairs staff, and they can guide you and how can you get that loan. It's only $500, the maximum, but at least it's something. If it's something that you don't have anything for savings, so talk to them, explain your situation. Maybe you don't need the $500. Maybe you just need $100 or $200. So use the resources that we have on campus to help you out on that. So, but if you have, if you're good managing your money and you think that you can set a goal and set up a little bit of money aside for your unexpected events, you can use your own bank to create a savings account and make sure that automatically from your paychecks gets $10, $5 every month to that. So you don't see it in your paychecks. I mean, in your other accounts. So step 6, it's the last one, which is like after you review your income, where is your money going? What are your needs and your wants? And you have an idea of everything. It will be good to build your budget. And this will help you understand where are you right now. You can do it using a pen and paper. Just write your income, your expenses, your needs, your wants. Or you can use Excel sheets or Google Sheets to do that. There are applications now online that on your phone that you can get it that can help you also. Chase Bank or I don't know which bank you use, but a lot of financial institutions, they have really cool graphs that can show you where you are spending more every month. So it can give you a hint on that way of your expenses and your income and give you some advice as well. Or you can use any other technique. I just put here the envelope budgeting technique. It's kind of old school, where you just separate in envelopes the bills that you have to pay and don't touch that money. Another way that you can do it is, or we can do it is, and I do it with my coffee, for example. I use the Starbucks app and I put specific amount on it for the month. And if I'm running out in the middle of the month, then that's it. I'm done for that month. So you can find different ways to help you manage your money and help you change that behavior as well on that sense. So that's with those steps. Oh, and the final, sorry, it was 7 steps. The final step is more about tracking your progress, right? Once you create your budget, you have your personal goals. Then next month, it will be great for you to go back and see if you met your goals or your budget goals. And if that works, that's great. If it didn't, go back and try to change that again. Try to look into your budget again, look at the whole picture and see which items you can change. Or maybe it's just your behavior that needs to be changed. But as we were saying, so budgeting it's a great option. Money, it's important. It's a means to an end, but it's not the end. And I can tell you this because even in the workforce, in the real world, it was actually a study made in 1968, and the study was trying to look what motivates employees during that time, right? What motivates? It's money that motivates you to keep working, or what else? And it was fascinating to see the results because money wasn't, the salary, the pay wasn't the priority for employees at that time. It was the recognition, the opportunities to develop, and money was almost on the bottom of the motivation. So where I'm going with that is that I think in our personal lives as students, we also can see that way, our situation, that money, it's not the end. We don't have it. We accept that, but there are other ways that we can, there are other situations in our lives that can have a bigger meaning than just have money. There are a lot of experiences that we can have without having money involved in it. And here at school, I know as a grad students, probably we're not much involved in all the activities that go around, but there are a lot of activities that we have on campus and during the summer off campus. There are a lot of activities that we can do that doesn't cost much or nothing at all. So we can take advantage of that if we feel that we don't have enough to, or we need a distraction, but we don't have enough money. Just look around campus. There are a lot of things that go during the weekend, so or at night. So you're always welcome on a lot of those events to attend if that's the case. And so every situation is different too. Even though we're adults, we're grad students, we still sometimes we tend to compare ourselves with others. And that's good to know that every situation is different, right? If someone has a nice car, have a really cool laptop, or really good tools to do their work here at UTEP, you shouldn't compare just yourself with that situation, or the clothes they wear, the bags they have, the shoes they wear. Those situations are not relevant for what we're here. And I think it's important for you to understand that. Don't compare yourself with others. If others have more than we do, that's fine, right? That's their situation. Our situation is not the same. And that will help us also understand that where we are in our budget and focus on that. Again, let's use the UTEP resources that are available around campus. CARES is one of those that really encourage us to come to them if we need some help. Oscar already talked about food pantry, the homeless link that we can go and look if we need. And if we have some situation with tuition, we're struggling with paying our tuition, if we make monthly payments for tuition and we're running behind with that, go and talk to them. They do also have resources to do that, to help you with those situations. Those are very specific, so they won't announce on the website, but you're welcome to go and talk to them if you have any tuition related issues. Here on the room, we have some hard copies of the CARE information, but also will, as you saw on the website, we have the website available on our UTEP website to get the advantage of what we have. That's pretty much with our presentation. And before I end this, I just want to remind you about the food pantry and the experience that we had last semester. If we are going to be getting an email, so if you want to get the food basket for if they're going to give this semester, put your name as soon as you get the email, apply for it. Because if you wait at least an hour or two, probably they're going to be gone. So it's a lot of demand for that. So make sure that when you get that email, and if you need really that basket, just make sure that you put your name right away. Don't wait. Okay, so that's pretty much what we have for this presentation. Do you guys have any questions? Anything that you want to add to what we shared? And of course, it's always like if there's anything that personal that you don't want to share with us here in this presentation, and it's something that you want to share with us, please send us an email to GradPD. That's where our full-time staff will be able to answer your question or direct you to the right person if there is anything related with your financial well-being. We're here to help as well. Okay.